Hello and welcome back to CyHawkThoughts here at CyHawkThoughts Studios. Glad to be here on a very cold Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Winter's here.
It is. But it's nice to be here in CyHawkThoughts Studio.
Yeah, I've got the temperature, what'd you say, about 73.
Feeling good. I should have worn a Hawaiian shirt.
I know, it's balmy in here, not so much outside. Yeah, you know what, it's about time.
Yeah, I'm ready. It's football weather.
I'm not a big fan of the cold, but it's about time.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're not here to talk about weather, even though we have the past 2 weeks in a row.
We're not going to do it.
No.
That's what Ed Wilson is for.
Do you like Ed Wilson, or do you like John McLaughlin?
I like John McLaughlin. He's got his own helicopter.
He does lessons.
He's a little cooler, yeah. That's cool.
Ed Wilson.
He's got
a hobby.
Gap in his teeth.
Yeah, he does.
I think he got rid of it.
Yeah. He needs to get a hobby.
How do you do that?
If he gets a hobby, then
I don't know what it'd be. I'll tell you what.
What if Ed Wilson?
Ed Wilson saved my life once.
Drove NASCAR.
Well, that would be cool. He could do the Richard Petty driving experience.
Does he beat McLaughlin then?
Oh, and in coolness?
I don't know.
It doesn't beat a helicopter.
Whoa!
But Ed Wilson, I will say,
versus like tons of cars going around the track.
Oh, that's a heck of a hobby.
Okay, well, what if he? Okay, well,
I thought maybe you were gonna say like he's a gardener or something. He's hanging out with Jerry Kluber or something.
No, I was trying to make Ed Wilson seem a little cooler than John McLaughlin.
Maybe he could just be a ninja in his spare time.
Hands down, Ed Wilson, a ninja.
He would.
Yes.
Ed Wilson as a ninja would be pretty cool.
Oh, are you kidding me, dude? He'd be coming in, you wouldn't even see it, and he'd bring the tornado.
Yeah.
He'd bring the hurricane.
Yeah.
The guy, you gotta look out for the frostbite.
Oh,
that's a crazy move.
He'd get your toes.
Yeah.
Okay. Ed Wilson as a ninja would be cooler than
John McLaughlin as a helicopter pilot.
Otherwise, John McLaughlin wins.
Okay.
And Brad Edwards, he's still over here. I don't know. Brad Edwards, I don't know if he could beat those two.
Brad's just that. He's just a guy. Just a guy who likes to do weather.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Brad. Good job out of you.
Yeah.
Brad Edwards, folks.
Yes.
All right, now that we have... What did we just do?
Talked about weather.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. How's everyone doing out there? I am hating life. Iowa losing to Minnesota. Are you serious? This wasn't in our script today in our pre-rehearsal time, but I'm going to tell you right now. I'm just going to skip right to it. This is the worst thing ever. It's Minnesota.
It is
Minnesota. I got a lot of texts, got some messages, and Scott Atwood, he said, nobody plays down to a team like Kirk Ferentz does. And I'll tell you, that 21-7, you can't let that happen. It's like the Ohio State and the Wisconsin game last year, just poor decisions. Hey, he thought yesterday, I think I might call a timeout. I should have called a timeout, that onside kick. You think? You think you should have? I think you should have. I think you should have called a timeout. I think you should have maybe coached to that ahead of time. We all knew what was possibly happening. We're just sitting watching TV. Minnesota ain't got nothing to lose.
I was dumbfounded.
It's terrible. It's a terrible job out of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Apologize for walking off on you. I need to shut something off.
Oh,
we're not professionals here at CyHawk Studios.
Easy bake oven.
Well,
get it done.
No, it was the monitor. I can hear my youngest screaming.
Oh, how's he doing?
Apparently not good. So, not apparently as bad as Iowa, because I'm sure there's a lot of Iowa Hawkeye fans screaming at the TVs. I was watching on and off. Mainly, what time was the game?
It was a 2:30 game.
Okay.
Got over about 6:14.
Okay, because I worked and I got home and I knew the Iowa State game was coming on at 6 o'clock that night.
Oh, that was the 6 o'clocker. Then
Yes.
never mind. Got over about 5:44 then.
Yeah, and I was heading to a friend's house, and so my wife and me being a loving husband, I needed to give her a little amount of my time, to hang out with her. I worked, and then I had the football game that night for the Clones, so I got to switch back and forth to the Iowa game from like Once Upon a Time, or one new show that
I don't know.
Love you, honey. But anyway, the parts that I did see was the fumble return when Vandenberg got lit up. He got lit up. It was a fun hit to watch. It wasn't the right team hitting the right team, but it was a fun hit to watch. To see that big old boy running down there for his life, and you guys were about to go up 21-3 until it happened, or I don't know what it was.
It just sucked.
Yeah.
But it made me, because it got over right before the Iowa State game, I was actually looking forward to that. I was like, let me just...
watch Iowa State get pounded?
Well, no, just let me watch some football. Let me just get my mind off it. I was actually cheering on Iowa State. I was in Iowa City area. I was like, hey, I hope they win. I was amongst actually Iowa State fans.
Good.
I was hanging out, and he was filling me in. Barnett looked good.
Life was great Saturday night.
Just
I know there's a lot of Iowa State fans that thought this day couldn't get any better. Iowa had just lost to the worst team in the Big Ten. Iowa State
were pretty happy
the upset, so they were probably just going crazy, like, oh, what's going on?
Pretty good day.
Yeah, but I, for one, wanted the Hawks to pull it out, and to be honest with you, that was the last thing I saw was that fumble return, and I was like...
They may not win again this year.
I was like, I was like, don't worry about it. They're going to win. And then it wasn't until I got over to my friend's house, and people were talking about... I watched, there was 2 minutes left. Iowa was in the game, and then was out of the game.
And then they're done. Game's over.
Yeah, so... Sorry, Hawk fans. I wish we had better news for you.
Maybe they'll win this week.
You beat Indiana.
Maybe Ed Wilson will be a ninja.
Was it because of the East-West format of the stadium?
I think it's because they suck at times.
I'm sorry, I don't hear that from Iowa fans that often.
Well, if you'd watched the whole game. Marcus Coker had more rushing yards than Minnesota had offense in the first half.
What happened? Why couldn't they put it in the end zone?
Well, they missed a couple field goals.
Why are they missing field goals? That's Iowa State's job.
I'll tell you why. Because Myers was named to the Lou the Toe Groza Award watch list 2 days before.
To screw it up.
He's not on the list. I don't think anyone's watching him right now.
Okay.
But I think that's part of it. I mean, if I was put on the Lou the Toe Groza watch list, I'd probably try harder. But, they're college kids. What can you do? Hey, not going to fault that. When you're playing down to your competition, I grew up in Newton High School this year. Very similar game. They played Perry at Perry. They were better than Perry. Perry hung in the game, hung around. Perry ended up winning by a couple touchdowns because the third, fourth quarter came around and it was 7-7, something like that. I think it's 7-7.
And you can win a quarter of football,
and
even if you're bad.
Yep. And they were even. They were leaving. They had the momentum built up. They're at home. The crowd couldn't believe they were hanging with Newton, and they ended up beating them. It cost Newton a chance at the playoffs later in the year, even though Newton had a better record. And same thing. Iowa's a better team than Minnesota. Maybe 7 times out of 10 they win that game because the team plays down to some competition. That's 2 losses in a row to Minnesota. With everything I've read over the weekend, it's a trend. It's not. You can't say, "Oh, Minnesota got lucky." Oh, it's East-West.
Yeah,
they blew it. They for one game they against Minnesota, and and Vandenberg, he's 0-4 now in road starts. That's a bad trend. Purdue, as the next chance they'll have on the road. I don't know. Purdue's not bad.
Purdue's kind of you get a Purdue team that can knock off Illinois. You get a Purdue team that will lose by 40 points to somebody.
Michigan.
Yeah.
But they were up 7-0.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, I think they were 7.
They won
7-7.
They won the first 5 minutes of the first.
They
quarter.
were all over it.
So,
yeah.
Unlike Iowa.
Bah.
Well, here's funny, and I told you this earlier today. I don't know if you remember me telling you this.
I do.
You already know what I'm going to say.
I do. I remember.
I was a big New Kids on the Block fan. Remember that? See, you don't. You don't know what's good. No, you did.
I do know.
Okay.
This.
All right. So, Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes, it seems like every Hawkeye fan, or most Hawkeye fans, or you at least, expect that one game where you should. I mean, a game you should win, but you lose.
Yep.
You know, and it seems to happen year after year. That one game where you just shouldn't lose, and you do. It was the Northwesterns or the Indianas or the Minnesotas. Okay,
yep.
Those are the teams that you shouldn't lose to. You do. Opposite side, it seems like Paul Rhodes and these Cyclones every single year win a game they're not supposed to, and fortunately for us, it came this last week.
Hey, and that
number 19, Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's great. That's
the Red Raiders.
Yeah, they weren't doing any of this.
I saw a lot of this.
Yeah. Oh, and it happened early, and they had that brief moment of hope when it was like 21-7 or 24-7.
Well, yeah, it was.
They had that touchdown. They thought they might be rallying.
Well, I thought they were rallying. I'm here. We're up 21-7. They just fumble the ball on a handoff exchange. Once again, like, whoa, shouldn't that be Iowa State? But no, they do it. We get down, or first of all, Money Reynolds should have caught the pass. It dropped it, hit him right in the chest. It doesn't happen. So we get down all the way to the one anyway, and James White ends up fumbling it. Then we do a goal line stand, and I'm like, all right, we're still in the game. Then we punt, then they go all the way down the field and score. And that's when I was like, okay, now it's 21-7, 14-point game. They've got some momentum. And then from that point on, our defense just did not let them have. I mean, our defense didn't let them have much prior to that, but from that point on,
they were really on lockdown.
It was really on lockdown. 24-7 at halftime. Come out the first half. Duck Hollis, 71-yard touchdown run. We're up 31-7. Tack in another field goal. Now we're up 34-7. Get another touchdown. 41-7. That's all she wrote, folks. I said if we score 35 points and also have more than 2 turnover in terms of a turnover margin, we win. Guess what? Both of those happened.
He did say that. You could go back to last week's episode of CyHawkThoughts and see where he did.
Yeah, I didn't have us doing that, but that's why I always say we would win.
Yeah.
No, I thought Barnett played really well as well. Running game was just phenomenal. Oh, if they would have let Barnett run the last couple of possessions we had, we would have 3 guys over 100 yards rushing. Can't argue with that.
No.
And this was a team that we beat on. Like, we beat on them. They just got done beating Oklahoma. So, yes, it might have been a letdown game for them, but that's still a very talented team that we spanked.
It doesn't matter if it's a letdown game. You got to play the games on your schedule, and you got to win the games you play. And I don't care if you're number 19 Texas Tech. I don't care if you're Iowa State, Iowa, Minnesota, Northern Illinois, Toledo, that put up a great game last night. I don't know if you got to see that. A little 63-60
highlights
action. I mean, those teams played like no tomorrow.
You know, I see your point there, but there's only a reason why I'm saying there might be a letdown game, because it's been proven over and over and over and over again. If the teams that just had an unbelievable upset never lost the very next week, we wouldn't be. I mean, if I would be the one making up, be like, maybe they were a letdown game because of Oklahoma, and then I would get popular because everyone else starts using that as an example. No, sorry, it's been around forever. So yes, you can sit there and say play every game on your schedule. You know, there's no excuses. Then why does it always happen?
Tommy Tuberville.
He is the reason it always happens, folks. You heard it right here.
Texas Tech.
You can let us know at CyHawkThoughts@yahoo.com whether you think Tommy Tuberville is the reason, going back to whenever football was invented, that a game after you get done doing a major upset is considered a letdown game.